Craft and Chat Wednesday nights. I'm Shauna from Frapps and Scraps, and we start tonight with a fun little channel hop. We start with my page here in Western Washington. Then we head all the way to the East Coast and see Leah from Make All the Things with Me. And if Christy happens to be home in time tonight, she will be with us as well. She's in Maryland. She's our hostess from the Artistry Collective, and she is Christy's Crafty Cottage. So let's see what we can do tonight. I've started a new journal. I have been making some video of it, but I've got to do a lot of editing. So I will show you how I went from one of these book bases like this that we cut and sell. It's just chipboard, but we cut it on a laser, so the cuts are nice and straight and uniform, and then you don't dull your blades on your trimmer. And we even give a template for the spine, and I have 3 different sizes of the spines. So those are available. If you're interested, just message me. But I show you how you go from that to something like this. And I followed Louisa Heinzel and did some texture paste on this one for this honeycomb. Hello, hello. Let me see if I can get comments in here. Hey there is Leah from Make All the Things with Me. She's in our comments. So yes, the bee journal is started here. I haven't done my flip through of my other one yet. It's like so much to do. That's okay though. I love it. And this tag is from Leah's bee kit that she is going to be doing a live class on Saturday to show you how to put this all together. And she sent some little pieces and all the things. I have mine painted a light gray color. It is the distress paint is what I used in Lost Shadow, because I plan to decoupage over mine some lavender flowers. I have a napkin. So I'm going to put that behind everything. And then today I thought I just finished putting in the elastic so that I can do 2 signatures in here. And I thought we would work on putting some papers in here. And what I want to do first, I think, is ink some of them though, because I've got some really white things going on. And while I do have white in here, I've got some cute little white dots on the bees and some white lace. I don't want it to be all white. And look at this beautiful bag that I found at Dollar Tree. Now this gives you 2 big bee images, and you could easily cut these apart. This was in a pack. Of course, they had 2 bags in a pack for $1.25, and they had a different bee one, but it was in another pack. So they did a bee one and then a plain one, and then another one had a bee one and a plain one. So I just picked my favorite. This one has the purples in here. It has a little touch of pink, which I might incorporate in here as well, but mostly we'll be using this color palette, the purple and the honey color. So this will be my lavender and honey journal. I am using Simple Stories Simple Vintage Lavender Field paper. I did tag it here, and it looks like this. I have the, what is this, 8x6? 6x8. So 6x8 paper pad. They do make it in 12x12, but it is just gorgeous. I bought this at Ben Franklin when I went and visited that store to the south of me, and I chose the 6x8 just because I feel like it will work better with this size of a book. So we'll see if I still feel that way. I did buy a couple of the 12x12 pages as well. I've already used a piece of this one, but I think this could fit nicely in there as well. And then there's some beautiful rub-ons, just like this. And how cool. I love this. I might go over and add in some brown in between my little honeycombs here, or maybe a little bit of some rusty hinge or something, kind of to try to get the color a little closer, but I think it's looking good so far. And man, the texture is amazing. This was a piece of vintage, I think it was like a little placemat or something. I found that at the Great Junk Hunt. And so yeah, it's been coming along, but I do have a stack of papers here. I've got some envelopes I want to put in the signatures. Now, when you put your elastic in here, you only have the distance between, I did eyelets, so I only have the distance between each eyelet to put my pages in. So that means my pages need to be shorter than this to fit in here. So this is going to go in here like so. And this envelope is actually a really good height, I think. I might even need to trim it just a smidge. See how it starts to kind of bunch up? So I can easily just trim the top off of there. And I think I will do that. I'm going to hook these together like this. So it kind of creates 2 pages, and that will give me pockets. And I usually like to cut these little pieces out of my envelopes. How's everybody's Wednesday going? Mine is going good. We went and saw our friends at the diner. I had a wonderful chicken salad, chicken cranberry salad. Love it. And then we hung out there for a little while, and then I got a wonderful coffee. It is raining off and on here, but nothing new for this April day. Happy April, everybody. It's April Fool's Day, also known as my younger sister's birthday. When I was younger, we didn't really live together. We each have, she's my half sister, so we have the same dad but different moms. And she lived with her mom growing up, and I lived with my mom growing up. But when I would get together and see her, I would tell her, I was kind of mean. I was like, "You're a joke because you were born on April Fool's Day." Um, but I think she's kind of embraced that birthday now. So happy birthday to her. If she might ever see this, I don't know. But um, yeah. And then this weekend is my little Sprout's 4th birthday. She is going to have a forever princess party. So we have a busy week. And then, of course, Easter is on Sunday. So um, we are doing an Easter egg hunt at her birthday party. Okay, so you can see I cut those little divots out there. That just makes a straighter edge here for when I decide to cover this with some paper or whatever it is I decide to put on there. Now I'm going to put in some glue, if I can remember where I put that. There we go. It's where it belongs. That's why I can't find it. If you guys would do me a favor and share me out there, let everybody know that I'm live. We are live almost every Wednesday. And usually, if not all 3 of us, at least one of us goes. So there's always somebody on this Wednesday wonderful Craft With Us hop. And Christy said she's going to try to make it tonight. She is out having some, I bet she's with her children having some mom time, which is wonderful. Those minutes just go by too fast. So you got to catch them while you can. Okay. So that's that one. And I did 2 of these. You don't have to make your signatures exactly the same, but sometimes I like to put the same base pages in all of them so that way they kind of look cohesive. Okay, and this does have this adhesive on here, so you know you can cover that up with a piece of tape or washi tape or what have you, or you can just hope that it doesn't get any moisture in there and will just behave. This is just going to be a little pocket. I might also put some paper down in here to make this part pretty. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll cut these little divots out here. So yeah, I'm going to be uploading the other videos of how I got my junk journal from this base kit to where I'm at now. And then this is the part putting the pages in. So I will eventually make a playlist for this journal. This one I'm calling the Lavender and Honey Journal. And again, the papers are by Simple Stories. I'm not affiliated with them, but I do love their products. I've loved them for years. They've been around since the early 2000s, maybe even earlier. I don't know. Oh, where'd my comments go? The look of everything on my iPad is so weird. All right. Hey, Chris Tompkins. Hello. Tomorrow, she says, I'm at the hand therapy for your daughter, and then you're off to the hospital for your son. Oh, no. Sending well wishes. I hope everybody is doing okay. My younger daughter, she's had a lot of doctor's appointments lately, too. No fun, but she's doing okay. Okay. Let's see. Let's do this. So again, this will just create 2 pockets and it'll be a little base. I think I kind of want them to open maybe on the side. So I could glue this shut, but I'm not going to worry about it because I'm probably going to put paper in over here. I do need to cut these off at the top though because they were just a hair too long. And it'll be so much easier on the paper if we just trim it down a little bit. And don't worry about envelopes because if you cut where it's adhered, you can always just glue it back closed. And these little pieces that you cut off, if you happen to want to save them, they do make good hinges or whatever, but I've got a ton in my stash right now, so I just will toss them. All right, let's make sure this is the right length. And then again, like I said, you can just add some glue up here, or you can make it a top loading pocket. I'm going to make it a side loading pocket, I think, because I like the tabs sticking out of the journaling cards. And let's just make sure this slides in nicely. Ah, that's like perfect. It's almost like I measured or something, but I didn't. I love it. I love when that happens. Wonderful, happy accident. Okay, so let's go ahead and glue this closed, and then I will probably eventually slice down the side. Now, I'm doing what I like to call a slipped spine. I believe it's called Midori or something. I need to look that word up because this is my favorite binding technique. It gives you so much flexibility, and you can take the pages in and out either to work on them, or if you change your mind, or maybe once you've journaled in them, you can, replace them with something new, like new papers, or if you find something that you want to go in the journal later, you absolutely can take something out and add something in. So it's wonderful. Hey, there we go. There's Regina. Hello, hello. Is Mama Christine in the house? Hey, she is here. Hello, hello. I'm so glad you made it. Okay, so let's put some glue at the top of this one again. And then we can glue this down. That's just sticking out in there. And then I want to put this paper and one of the other papers. I want to dip it in some ink so that it gets this nice purple color. I probably will be using a lot of fossilized amber distress ink. Okay, so there's those. One for each signature. We'll keep the trimmer close by because I've got a bunch of other papers. So I'll just show you the papers that I'm planning on using first. I already talked about this paper pad. I will take some of the papers out and see which ones can go kind of sideways. You see most of them have this vertical orientation, even though I'm holding them sideways, but some of them on the side, they can go this way if we folded it in half or whatever we want to do. Oh, I love that one. Look at this one. This one's non-directional. So I went shopping in my stash to look for all things bees. This is not my first bee journal. I have done several. I need to get out there and do some flip throughs. I do have another one sitting over here that uses graphic 45 paper and a totally different color palette. Most of my bee journals have some sort of undertone with black, like this one. You can see I've got black pages, black envelopes, all the things. Your daughter almost severed her ring finger. Oh my gosh. Ouch. That's terrible. Well, at least she's at therapy, so that's good. So you can see I've got cute little bee charms. This one I will be doing a flip through soon. This one is paper by Graphic 45 again. And this was a Reader's Digest journal. And then I've got a piece of flat back canvas on here that I love. I love doing this method. And then we've got a nice hitch post closure. And yeah, so look for a flip through of this one. This is a really fun journal. I worked on it quite some time ago. I'm so behind with all of my flip throughs. Um, I'm hoping to work on that. Okay, so we've got those. I also pulled out some smaller envelopes because I want to attach these to some of the pages maybe going this way so we can have some of those vertical papers. I found some fun mulberry paper. I've got 2 pieces of that. Then this is handmade paper, and I put this in a class kit that I did a couple years ago, and I still have some of it left over, so I thought it would be perfect to use in this kit because it feels so cool. I also have a really old and tattered book. I've been using these pages recently. This book is super old, and these papers are in my Easter ephemera pack, which I still have a few of if you didn't get one yet. But look how old this book is. It's so beautiful. The papers are just perfectly done in vintage. And I bought it like this. It was falling all apart. So I've just been using the pages and having a good time there. I believe it's from the 1800s, if I remember right. Yes, 1890 down below. So that's where these papers are from. And it feels like just amazing paper. I love it. So I'm going to be using maybe some of this paper with some rub-ons. and so forth. This is just, I think, some newsprint. Then I have this paper here, which is just mixed media cardstock or mixed media watercolor paper, maybe. I don't know. It was from a book. So it's either mixed media or watercolor paper. I'm not sure. I plan to cut this down though, and I might even just leave these at the top, or we could fold them this way and then they would be at the side, but I think I kind of like them at the top. And I kind of like this little edge, just gives it something different of a texture. But this one we're going to have to cut down as well. And this is one of the ones I want to ink splatter and dip because it's very white. So we could cut this quite a bit shorter here and still have it be pretty good a length. Now, I don't have many digitals to go in here, believe it or not, but I did find a beautiful bee collection from Tina at Vectoria Designs, and she gives that freebie out if you sign up for her email list. She sends out all kinds of beautiful freebies, and I will be using one template from her to make this cute little interactive piece, and probably some of the bee kit as well. I've already got it cut out, so we'll go through my little basket here in just a second. I kind of went through and shopped my stash, like I said, looking for all things bee. It's pretty. Everybody loves it. You're loving it. Yay! Okay, let's see. Let's cut this down to about the same size. Now, this little piece of paper here, we could make a fun little notebook with, a notepad or a little journaling card. You can just use it as scrap paper. But I usually keep this at least until I'm done with the project. And who are we kidding? Long after that. Okay, so these yellow handmade papers, I did use a die cut. It's one of the mixed media backgrounds from Sizzix and Tim Holtz. And I've cut some fun things out here. I've used a bunch of my letter dies and cut out B and some of these other phrases. But look at how cool this is. It kind of looks like the honeycombs on this handmade paper. And then I can use this to overlay some of the other paper, kind of just adding some fun texture and shapes there. Cut out a bunch of other things. I've got some doilies in here. And these were from, I got a 12 by 12 paper that had all of the tags on it. And usually those are in 4 rows going this way. And they're usually like anywhere from 6, I think they're like 5 or 6 in the row. Well, I leave them attached either by 2s or 3s. And then I have these fun little pocket stuffers where you can unfold them, and you can even add in paper in here. Maybe you want to make it like a little mini journal or something like that. So this is the Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Lavender Fields collection again. And we can add to these, we can add some ribbon, we can add all kinds of fun things. So some of them, like I said, are just 2. And then these can like wrap around a page. And by using this paper that's already got these tags done, I don't have to have a lot of ephemera. I can just cut these out and kind of go from there. I can start inking them. I can add to them. I can leave them just like they are. Whatever it is I would like to do. Okay, so let's pull out some of these doilies. I have some doilies that I hand dyed. And those are in my Easter ephemera packs too, if you are looking for them. I've got some scraps of fabric that I think would match. I've got some fun bee charms that I plan to use here. I have a bunch of tags that I also want to dip in that ink, so I'm kind of setting those things out so I can kind of dye everything at once. Now this was just a little notepad that was in my stash, but look how well it matches. So this would be fun to add to some of the pages. Good little writing spots. So I always look for these when I'm at thrift stores. These were some of the notepads that we used to get, like stationery sets, or that people would send to your home for free. You know, some of them would be like organizations asking for a donation, and they'll send you some free stickers or free stationery. All right, so these are doilies. I plan to put at least one of those in there. And I kept some offcuts. There's more. This is another page of like little cut aparts, and I love them because they've got perfect little journaling spots. Can add some tabs to those and put them in. Okay, here's the ones from Victoria Designs, and like I said, they introduced pink, which I was mostly hoping to stick to purple and honey color. But look at these, they're just so beautiful. And of course, I went through and glittered all the wings. Things with wings must sparkle in my world. Beautiful little mini file folder pocket. These are by Victoria Designs. I'll try to link her in the description as well. And then I learned to make these fun little things. I posted these on my Instagram. If you're not following on my Instagram, you need to check it out. Sometimes I post different things there. Sometimes it's the same things. Sometimes, you know, I just post in one place. But these were made. Well, I made these, but I learned how to make these from Corey Dahman, and they open like I got to figure out where to glue this ephemera on there. There we go, like this. And then it's just a cute little spot to put like, so some of that paper that I cut off that was like, I said, was a scrap, that could easily go right in there and it'll just be a little notebook. So I made a few of those to go in this journal as well. I can bet you this one is going to be a bulky one because I have lots of bee things in this color palette to put in here. And this one's not too pink. I might be able to cut out some flowers, some purple or yellow ones, and just kind of lay it over. I like this corner pocket. Very cute. Okay, so let's color some of this paper. Oh, I've got a mess. Okay, there's those. There's some tags. You can see I found some fabrics in my stash. I did some other die cutting. I just kind of shopped what I already had because I feel like we don't use the things that we have enough. We're always so excited by new things. And I saw this paper and was like, oh my gosh, I need that. But I'm really excited to use some of these other fun things as well. So I thought this would be really cool to layer on some of these tags, and that's about the perfect size. So that will be like I'm going to ink them, and then this can be like a portion of a background. And I have this wonderful stamp. I don't even know how old this is. It's called a large bee. And who's it by? Oh gosh. Somebody in Kalispell, Montana. There is the name. If you can zoom in or screenshot or whatever, but it's an old one. I don't even know if they're still in business, but it's one of my favorites. It makes a wonderful little bee. Okay, this is a frame. Eek. And now I have all these little pieces. I kept all these little honeycomb pieces. You can glue them on and make them. This was like the inside of the cutouts. So a little basket or something or an envelope is perfect to keep all those little pieces so you don't lose them. I spent the last 20 minutes looking for an N die cut that was in my set, and somehow I've lost it somewhere. So really frustrated about that. Got to find it. Okay, so I've got the paper, got some tags. I want to splatter a little bit on these doilies. Look how beautiful this is going to be. Love, love, love it. Hello, Christina from Scrap Craft and Stitchery. I like that. Hey, there's Kim. Hello, everyone. If you guys aren't following me, I would love it if you would subscribe and like the page or the channel rather. I kind of forget where I am. And give the video a nice thumbs up or hype the video once the live is over. That would all be greatly appreciated. I've been doing really well getting lots of videos out. I'm over 600 videos now. So that is really fun and awesome. Okay, I think this one's going to go like this. So I will need to trim this down, but I don't need to do that right this second. Then these other ones I will trim down as well. I like to have some variance in the sizes of my journals. I know some people don't like that. Some people like kind of how I did my last Easter journal, where all the base pages were pink and they were the same size. Looks very uniform across your book, but sometimes I like the fun variants as well, especially when it comes to adding texture. And I might even just use this to glue one of those, what looks like a journaling card on here, and I'll glue one front and back, and then this will make just a fun little background piece. And I think that's about the perfect size as well. It is almost like it was made for it. And then this kind of adds in a little bit of that pink color. Kind of reminds me of saltwater taffy distress colored ink. Okay, so we'll set these aside. There's my envelopes I was trying to get down to. Who all is taking Leah's bee kit class this Saturday? Yes, lots of videos. I've been working really hard. Okay, so before I blind you with this light, we're going to see what colors of distress ink I would like to use. I want to try to find some purples. Maybe we can add in a little bit of sponge sugar. That is a pink. And then I have, that's antique linen. That could be okay. There we go. There's my purples. So I've got shaded lilac. And then I think I want to use a little bit of villainous potion. Just a little bit, because it will be quite dark. No, that one is mustard seed. That one's pretty yellowy. Yeah, that one's like a little bit in your face, but we might add just a little bit of that. Okay, there's our colors. And then we will need some water. And this is the fun part. We just get to splash everything. And you just kind of work in layers. All right. Ooh, this needed to come off anyways. I have been working on a file folder because of the glare down here. So sorry if that is too bright. Let's see. I often forget this ring light. I can change the color of the light. Oh, wow, that's weird. How do I turn that off now? Oh boy. There we go. All right, let's just leave it alone. Okay. I'm going to wipe this off a little bit. I think there's some glue or something in there. And it's always good to have a wet wipe handy. That's crushed olive. Nope. Okay. I used a bunch of texture paste, and I was also using embossing glaze to get those honeycomb looking textures on my cover. So that is what I've got out here. Okay, so I want to start maybe a little bit light. Now you can use your bigger size of these. My regulation size inks, as Tim calls them, are in the other craft room. So in here, I typically just have some of the smaller sizes. Now I might start just a little small and start with the tag and see what I think of that. I'm also going to wet this tag just a little bit. And these tags I just cut with my die cutting machine. When I have leftover paper, that is what I tend to do with it. Scraps become die cuts around here. Let's try one without so much water. Now, Tim always says wet on wet blends, wet on dry layers. So if you want your colors not to create mud, you need to dry them in between. I am super impatient, so Ranger has a wonderful heat tool, but I have two of them and I don't use them because I typically like this embossing tool. It's hotter, but it does kind of blow things around a little more if you're trying to emboss or something because it has a more direct area of heat. I did go over that on a Tool Talk Tuesday that I need to upload as well, and maybe I'll try to get that one uploaded here soon. It was a pretty good one if I do say so myself. I went over all the temperatures and the heat and how it differs from your hairdryer, all the things. Now, of course, this is making 3, and I have 2 signatures, so I want to try to do at least 4 or even numbers of things. These ads keep popping up on my iPad. Sorry about that. Hey, Diana's in the house. Hello, hello. Yes, I got all my girls together. Everybody's figured out I'm over here on Wednesdays, just about every Wednesday now, as long as I don't have appointments and I'm feeling well. I am here trying to get back to some sort of normalcy, which has been so hard because this last year has really been trying my nerves and everything else. Okay. But I'm cleared for 2 to 3,000 steps now. I only use the wheelchair if it's going to be a really long day of like standing or walking, like when we went to the junk hunt. Had to use it there a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to introduce in some a little bit more of like a brighter yellow. And if you don't want those little squares when you go to ink, do like I did and just kind of mess it up. You can also use a paintbrush if you don't want to press your fingers in there. And I'm good if it kind of gets drippy like this. Kind of like that actually. And you can even encourage it to do more dripping with a heat tool. And I don't have my little finger grabbers in here, but if you're using the embossing tool, it does get super hot. So just be really careful with your fingers. And if you hold your paper up in the air when you're trying to dry it, the heat can get underneath. I love watching the videos, like little reels of people making their drippy backgrounds and fun color blends. And it is so freeing. If you're feeling not very inspired, grab some tags or some paper or whatever you have and just, color some backgrounds on some, even if it's just pieces of paper. You can always make something out of it later. You can fold it or put it in a journal. You can use it for die cutting, whatever it is that you want to do. All right, so let's make sure these are dry because then I want to introduce some of the purple. And I don't want it to make brown. And if you get big clumps like that, you can always use a dry paper towel or a wet wipe or whatever and just kind of blot it. I think so far I really like this one. But we'll see how they turn out. Oh, and sorry if you hear Remy. Mr. Frapps is here. He is out and about. It's been like springtime has hit and there's just all kinds of things to do outside. So he's been out there trying to catch up on everything and get things done. All right, we'll add just a little bit of pink on this side. And I'm not going to do the villainous potion yet because I want to be really intentional about that. Add some water. That also activates the oxide in the ink. You can see how it kind of makes it that creamy color. All right, now let's just go for it. Drip it right through there. Now this paper is not very thick. I don't know what this paper was. Like I said, all of my leftovers just kind of become die cuts and shapes and whatever. So it's not absorbing very well, and that's why it's wrinkling. But once I get all my colors on there, I can go through and iron it if I want to, or you can just put it under something heavy. Or you can just leave it. I kind of sometimes like the little warpy texture. Add some interest. Looks like I'm getting a little bit of green there instead of, I thought I would get brown, but you never really know until you play and try. And that one's kind of a gray. Purple is such a weird color when you're trying to dye paper and things. I've done a lot of different experimenting with purple paints and inks. And are you guys crafting along today? Yes, that would be great. What are you all doing? Yes, let us know. We like to know. Leah will be up next, and she always has some fun projects. She's like the 1 hour project queen. She can make anything look totally doable and fun in an hour. She has some brilliant ideas, and she mostly does DIY home decor kind of projects, but she also is a paper crafter from way back in the scrapbooking era. It's fun. We talk about things that we used to love that are no longer no longer available in the paper crafting world. Like I used to do Yahoo groups and it was so amazing. I used to teach on Yahoo with a tiny little webcam. I had like this much of a space. It was fun though. So cool to look back. Somewhat a little bit sad too because a lot of the companies I loved are just gone. Okay, let's go in with a little darker purple. We're going to be a little bit more aggressive. And like I said, I'm not too worried about these as far as the patterns that I'm getting because I can always stencil over them too, or I can layer. These are just a background. So just trying to get some sort of color down. Ooh, look at that purple. Villainous potion right there. Love it. Love it. Love it. And I think that's going to change this quite a bit. Okay, let's go into some of these wider areas and see what we can get here. Oh, yeah, see this paper, it's all about your paper. Tim Holtz talks about substrates in some of his live demos, and it really does make a difference. If this were watercolor paper, it would totally lay on here differently. Ooh, I'm getting brown there. That's okay though. Like I said, mostly just a background. So I'm trying to hit some of those wider areas and see if I can't get a little more of that purple. Purple is such a funny color to work with. It's beautiful though. All right. Don't particularly want mud, but I do want a little bit of color on there. And then I have some sprays. I can go over with some fun sprays as well once I've got some of these goodies on here. Got to start somewhere. So just get some color down. If you have paper like this, you might also start by painting it with some gesso. I might have had a little better luck if I had done that. Sometimes you think about these things after the fact or you just dive in and you just got to start somewhere. And I say, as long as you're crafting and you're using your supplies and you're having a good time, then that's all that matters. Okay. Even if I don't wind up using these for my journal, I'm still playing with the colors and having some fun here. All right. I like that purple up the top. Let's see if we can go right in the center. Yeah, that's good. And I'm just going to let that drip a little bit. Let's see. 40 years ago, when you first diagnosed with cancer, you frequently was in a cancer chat. Yes. It's crazy how many online communities there are out there for different things, different conditions, different ailments, different crafts, different hobbies. My husband is a crew chief on a race car, and there's all kinds of different communities for racing, especially different types of racing. There's sporting communities. So if you have an interest in something, definitely look for it because it's so much easier these days to find things than it used to be. You can just type in a hashtag and there it goes. Okay. I think I want to try some sprays now. We're going to try and get some fun splatters. And maybe on those other papers, I want to start with some of the lavender. Let's set these aside for a second. And I'm going to still do this on the paper. But I'm going to skip the yellow this time. I think that's what's making the funny color. Yes, on Yahoo. Yahoo was like my home away from home. Back in the day. All right, let's put some of this lavender. And then we'll put in just a little bit of villainous potion. Put in some water. Kind of blur it around a little bit. And then I'm going to use these different papers, so we'll see if we get some better layering. Yeah, see how much better that is? And especially since I didn't start with yellow. And this will just make a fun background. Kind of a great layer. And I don't really want to get my fingerprints in there, which I am. Okay. We'll hold it this way. And I'm just letting that paper kind of soak up the ink all over. There is no right or wrong here. You can just let it go. And once it starts to drip there, I like to encourage those drips because I think they're kind of fun. If the drip is just a little too thick, we can just kind of blot it off there. And then you get to keep that cool little stain that's just like organic. Love that. Okay, let's do that again on the other paper. And this really doesn't use that much ink, but these inks are refillable. So if you have the re-inkers, especially for these little guys, depending on how much you use them, they won't last as long as like the bigger size, but I don't fill mine a whole lot. And I just kind of use them as I need to, knowing that I can fill them. You like this? Yay! So glad. Sometimes it's fun just to, bring out a medium and get your papers, do something extra to your papers. And I think that's what's so cool about junk journaling is that people will have different ideas and different supplies available. So no junk journal is ever going to be exactly the same. If you try to do this, you're going to get some different backgrounds than what I get, obviously. So it definitely is like your own creative style here. And it doesn't take a lot of creativity, girls. I'm literally just putting the ink on the glass mat, adding some water, and then just seeing what I get. And then once these are dry, I can go in and add like some scripty font. I can add some stenciling. I can add other papers, I could put, a little paper over here. We can put trims on the pages, all the things. We can splatter more ink by doing some sprays. You could even use some watered down acrylic paint if you don't have these distressed products. I've been a collector and a store owner for a lot of years, so I do have a lot of supplies. And they last. As long as you take care of them, things will last. If you buy good tools and supplies, they last. Now, I have had to throw some away over the years, but mostly the biggest loss I endured was when I had a she shed. I did not realize that bees, of all the things, bees would attack my wall and window, and it made this big drippy mess, and all kinds of things got ruined. And then temperature control was another problem. It got too cold out there one time, and I had to throw away a bunch of paints and gesso and texture paste and all the things. So, no fun. Now I just have all my crafts stuff in the house as my other daughter moved out. So I've got 2 rooms in the house and I still use the rest of the house. Who am I kidding? Okay, here we go. Let's put this way. Now I don't know where pockets and papers and trims and all the things are going to be. This is merely just a layer. Some of this might get covered up and that's okay. Some people say, why put it down if you're going to cover it up? Because this is part of my process. If you want to skip this step, maybe you want to use some watercolor paint and just paint it on, go for it. Maybe you just want to use purple cardstock. That's why junk journals, in my opinion, are so cool because everybody has their own process and their own way of doing things. Okay, so I really like that. And we could add in a little bit of that antique linen. I don't think I'm going to use that mustard seed because it's adding a lot darker of a yellow than what I really want to focus on. Again, if you dry in between the layers, it will start to layer. If you leave it wet, wet on wet will blend. And sometimes it'll blend into a nice mud color, which if you're going grungy, that might be what you're looking for. You decided not to start any new projects and just finish the ones you haven't finished yet. You're 2 pages from being done with the first project. You have 7 more to finish. Oh my goodness. On Rach and Bella Crafts, there's a Facebook group called Junk Journal with Rach and Bella Crafts. She has a UFO swap, which is unfinished objects. And I think that's such a cool idea. So basically, you send your unfinished one that you are just tired of working in, or no longer have interest, or you just are not inspired anymore, or whatever the case is. You send it to somebody else and they send you theirs. So that's kind of fun because then you can get to keep somebody else's journal. You can you know, maybe work with some sort of project that you haven't seen and done already. All right, this one is Villainous Potion Distress Oxide Spray. I haven't even opened it yet. I just expanded my spray collection and it's pretty massive now, but I haven't opened them all yet. So I say just, it's been about probably about a year. Being sick this last year has totally thrown me off my game. I was right in the mix. I bought a lot of things. I had acquired a lot of things, and I finally have my living room back. It's pretty great. We can even see the couch. All that's on the couch is 2 cushions, like 2 extra, like the not the couch cushions, but the floofy pillows for Easter, which is great. My cats like it. My grandbabies like it. I think my husband likes it too. He's even been sitting there occasionally when the cats are in his chair. All right, here we go. Now, if you hear that ball in there, if you're not familiar with these products, you want to shake it really good because all of this cloudiness on the bottom is that pigment in there, and see how it's changing color. That's what, as it's starting to mix in. This is that dark color that we already used on here as an ink. So now we're going to use it as a spray. Try and bring in some of this fun darker color. Now, if you stay further away, you'll get some smaller sprays, and if you get closer, sometimes you'll get some different looks. And you might get more intense color. And some of the nozzles are different too. So I've had that happen. If you want to open this up, you can open this up in kind of more controlled splatter. Maybe you just want some splatters in certain areas. Let's go ahead and splatter these doilies. Adding purple to the mix here will be perfect. Now, if you're doing splattering, you might want to use a splat box. I don't worry about splatters anymore because I just kind of create what I'm going to create and let it happen. But there will be splatters all over. No matter how clean you think you're being, you will find splatters on all of your things back here. And of course, on my hands, but these are all water-based products. The Distress products are all water-based, so they do wash off with soap and water. Now, if you're using alcohol, solvent-based inks like the archivals, those ones you can use hand sanitizer or some kind of alcohol to wash up from that. Okay, so I like that. Let's spray a little bit on these envelopes as well. And layering things will give you different splatters on certain parts too. So now if I lay this here, it could also give you a straight edge. So if you don't like that, don't layer. The spray is going to go only on the surfaces it can get to. So see right here how it has that edge. If you don't like that, don't layer it. I don't mind because I'm probably going to put some things over this anyways. Okay, and then I always try to wipe off my nozzles before I put them away. And we're just going to set that here. Let's see, what other color do I have? That's Kitsch Flamingo. I think that's too in your face of a pink. Here is Saltwater Taffy. We could add just a smidge of that. Now, like I said, I wanted to stick mostly with lavender and honey colors, but adding in just a little bit of this pink is okay. And I really don't have any talent in this regard. I am just letting it happen. And here I might pull out some of these things, add a little bit of spray. I don't really want to focus too much on the pink, so maybe I'll add in some of the splatters of the purple there. Now, I need to sort my sprays in rainbow order, but I haven't gotten around to it. So they're just kind of everywhere in here. I do have the sticker dots on the top of them though, and that really helps a ton. And what I mean by that is the little dots on the top. This is walnut stain. We could add a little bit of some brown. Distress oxide spray, walnut stain. So again, the oxides will all have that ball in there, and you want to shake them up pretty good. Get that pigment moving. If you don't get it moving, it can clog up your nozzle, and then you'll have to get a new one. Ranger does sell new nozzles, but I prefer not to spend my money on things that I can kind of prevent from doing that in the first place. Let's put some of this on here. Maybe it'll darken this this yellow a bit. Now I need to dry, or we're going to start to get some sludge. But see how that walnut stain just kind of darkens that yellow a bit? It's not making it so like bright and in your face. All right, let's dry some of these. And like I said, I've got spray over spray everywhere. All over. And let's wipe off the nozzle. Put it back in the little spinner. Okay. Leah, how you doing, my friend? This is your 8-minute mark. I have 8 minutes to go. Look at all these fun papers I have had the pleasure of adding all of this fun stuff to. And you just keep going until you get something that you like. And sometimes you might not even know if you like it yet until it dries. Like this paper is super saturated because it's very thin. But look how cool that's looking as it dries. It's kind of getting more of that purple now. Love that. And doilies, these ones aren't vintage. These ones are just ones I buy wherever I can find doilies. Sometimes they are vintage though, because I'll get them at thrift stores. So they're actually from like the packs that they used to have in the 70s. They have them in all shapes and sizes. I have some that are gold foiled for Christmas ephemera packs. You guys are going to start seeing a lot more offerings of ephemera packs, and I don't think I've offered them on YouTube before, but if you follow me on Facebook, I often will post things there. I also have a Facebook group I'm going to be opening up just for my sales, and we'll be doing journal sales in there, ephemera sales, and group buys. Sometimes I offer group buy-ins. I'm a Prima stockist. I also stock buttons and sometimes other things. So never know. Just kind of depends on what the interest is. I always am destashing Tim Holtz goodies. I have a ton of Distress inks I still have for sale. I need to go through and make a list. Okay, so you can see this is just going to be a very light background of the bees, but I'm okay with that because then I can kind of layer some other things over there and it dulled out that pink. Now this one is looking a little green, but maybe once it dries, it'll look more purple. And once it's dry, we could always add another layer of some purple or go back in with your blending tool and actually just add in some purple along the edges. I really like this one though. And if you get an area that's oversaturated, you can always add some water and it will kind of tone it out. Or if you're using like a wet paper towel or a wet wipe, you can kind of blot it and that will tone out some of the colors. You can splatter with water to get some different droplet effects in the background. If you really want to see a master do this, watch Tim Holtz's channel. He has some amazing demos that he does using all of his products. Where's Sharon to keep my Tim counter, my Tim clicker going? Okay, and then see all of this white spots in the areas here? I probably will take some of that yellow and stencil in some of the honeycomb that I've got here, and that will also tie it in from the papers and the cover and all the things. And it'll get rid of some of this white as well. See just this little hint of pink up there in that top left corner right here. I don't know if you guys can see the color really good, but will kind of help to tie in something like this that does have just a little bit of pink. Now my last book was all pink. It was all pink all the time. The one before that was blue. Natalie from Line Dot Arrow, it was blue, and then Rachel from Rachel Bella Crafts, I did pink. So it's been fun. Now we'll kind of go with purple and yellows for this lavender and honey journal. So even if you're in between projects, you can always, you can do some neutrals. Maybe if you think you're going to do a certain color, or you can make a rainbow of color of tags and doilies and papers and just have them all ready. As soon as I collect all of the papers from the Tim Holtz palette collection, I'm going to make a rainbow book. So I'm going to have one signature for every single color. And it's just going to be my collection, my own book. I'm not selling that one. My own collection of fun Tim Holtz products. Can't wait. I do have several of the papers. I've been collecting the 8x8 size. This is the pink one. So if you haven't seen those, I got those online. Ranger has them. Stampers Anonymous has them. Other places online will have them. So I've just been kind of collecting them. I like the subtlety of this one as well, because I'm going to put some papers on here. So, it's not necessarily a waste of ink if you get things in the center, because it just adds to the layers. And you can see those different sizes of splatters really well on this one. So right here, I have some really tiny splatters. Here, I've got some bigger blotches. This one, I think, is still wet, so we could just take this and let it blot some of the other papers. And then dry. And that's still wet there too, so I'm just going to move it and do it again. I love these. These actually turned out pretty grungy, which wasn't really what I was going for, but I really do like it. What do you guys think? We do a little junk journaling and mixed media stuff. Awesome. Do you put videos on your channel? If you do, I'll have to go check them out. Always looking for fun new friends and inspiration. Inspiration is everywhere, friends. Look around. There's so many fun creators out there on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, and of course here as well, TikTok. I'm all over on those platforms. Okay. So I just have 2 minutes left, and like I said, we can then take our stencil. Where did it go? There it is. And let's move this over. Ooh, I still have some ink hidden under there. Look at that little goodie. We'll swab that up here with some of this paper that didn't get any, or that still has some white areas. And of course, when you are using, you can use paper to dry it up. If you're just done with it and over it, you can use paper towel, wet wipe, whatever, to sop up this extra ink. And then some people even dry these, and they will add those to their journals as well, or make die cut flowers out of them, for instance, all the things. Ooh, see, I'm gonna have to lift this up and really clean under there. That overspray will get you every time, even when you don't think you're getting any. But it cleans up relatively easy, especially if you clean as you go. Not a big deal. Okay, everyone, so this is our Wednesday night channel hop. I hope you have enjoyed this video of getting the pages ready for my lavender and honey journal. And after me is Leah from Make All the Things with Me. I will be heading over there. I am one of her moderators on that channel, and I help her keep everything crafty, as we say. Okay, nope, not this one. I wanted to use this one. This one is the antique linen. And then I'm just going to add some stenciling. So check back on my channel next week. I'll be working probably in the same book. And I'm going to be posting some videos to show how I got my cover to the state that it is. So I will see you guys next week or in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. I'd love it if you'd hit that subscribe, like, hype the video, do all the things, and I'll see you next time.